Welcome back to the Tip of the Ice-Burgh podcast. Thank you again to everybody that submitted questions for the mailbag. I want to build that out and make it bigger and bigger every week. I want to get to the point where sometimes I'm going to be sitting here for 2 hours answering all of your questions. So just keep throwing them in there. I'm going to make sure I try to keep grabbing them from all the different places and we get to answer as many, if not every single question that you guys submit. But I do want to close this show out, as I'm going to try to do every single Thursday episode, with the Penguins power rankings. And this week, man, there was a shakeup. I did my initial power rankings last week, and honestly, when I looked at it and then I saw the 2 games that happened last Friday and Saturday, I said, well, the power ranking segment might just be, well, nothing's happened, so the power rankings are the same. But luckily, Wednesday provided a little bit of clarity for me. So I'm going to shake up my power rankings a little bit. One person that's dropped is Artur Shilov's. I still think he's been really good, but I think there's other people that earned spots above him. He was an honorable mention, aka the 6th spot last week. So I'm just going to drop him out of the rankings, but he's still in the top 10 in my eyes. I have 2 honorable mentions this week. One that was in the top 5 last week, but has dropped down a little bit, and not for lack of performance on his end, but more so performance on other players' ends that have jumped Ben Kindle. And that's exactly who it is. I still think at 18 years old, he is showing you way more than you could have ever expected. And he's going to be floating around this top 5 until he has a drastic drop. Like, he's going to be an honorable mention or in the top 5 for a very long time, because he's built up a lot of equity with me when it comes to this. So I still have him as an honorable mention, excuse me. And one other player that I can't believe I didn't mention, because I have just been blabbering about how excited I am about how well this guy has been playing, is Parker Wotherspoon. Right? Last week I talked about Erik Karlsson and how he's just a different player. Well, a large part of that is Parker Wotherspoon. And you saw it again on Wednesday night. Just another tremendous performance by 28. He brings the physicality, which is something I didn't really expect. It's not overly physical, but he uses his frame effectively. And that's all you can ask for from a defensive defenseman. You see the body you have, use it to your advantage. And that's what Parker Wotherspoon does. And he does it in a way that doesn't put him out of position as well. So I really like Parker Wotherspoon. It's just something about guys wearing 28 and playing next to a superstar defenseman in Pittsburgh. They make me feel good because they're good at their job. And that's what I think of Parker Wotherspoon. So honorable mentions, both Ben Kindle and Parker Wotherspoon. Another change from last week as we start into the top 5 here, Bryan Rust is going to bounce down 1 spot. And similar to what I said about Ben Kindle, similar to what I said about Artie Shilov's, it's not as much what he's done, because he scored a huge goal on Wednesday night. That goal on the next shift following the tying goal from Buffalo was massive. If he doesn't score that goal in that moment, I'm not sure the Penguins walk away as the winners, because they had no momentum going. So the Penguins get a good shift there. It's finished off by a dogged goal by Bryan Rust. He was a dog on a bone with that loose puck in the offensive zone, and it's just the type of play that we kind of expect from him. So that got him off the schneid. He had been on a 5-game point drought going into that one, so you saw him look to the heavens and just kind of feel that sense of relief. Hopefully that sets him on a run here. As I mentioned earlier in the show, the Penguins, they need a little bit more of that offensive flair from really every corner of their lineup. So Bryan Rust at number 5. At number 4, making his season debut in the Penguins power rankings, and a welcome back to Penguins goaltender Tristan Jarry. He was really good before his injury. And now you have Kevin Weeks putting out the eye emoji saying something to watch. Tristan Jarry to the Edmonton Oilers. I'll believe it when I see it. Kevin Weeks, in my recent memory, has not been hitting on a lot of these. So it makes sense. It's something that's been talked about for a long time. But at the same time, if you're the Penguins, you look at Tristan Jarry the way he's playing right now, and yeah, you could move off of him. Artur Shilov's has been good this year. Sergei Murashov looks like he's, if not ready, close to being ready to kind of take on the NHL level. But right now, as long as he's here, he's in the top 5. I mean, he had himself a great October. The only bad period he really had was that last period on November 3rd when they were playing in Toronto and they gave up the 3-goal lead. It's because he was playing through an injury. So a healthy Tristan Jarry has been a all-star version of Tristan Jarry. He had a stellar return for a second. I thought he was going to get the shutout yesterday, but the Penguins defense just kind of hung him out to dry in the third period. But still, 28 saves on 30 shots in his return, and that is enough for me to say this guy is in the top 5. This guy is on my power rankings list, and he's at number 4. 3, 2, and 1, I'm going to cut to the chase here. 3, 2, and 1 are the exact same as last week, and those guys have separated themselves a little bit from 4, 5 in the honorable mentions and the rest of the lineup here. But Erik Karlsson is going to stay at number 3, and I'm not going to lie, guys. I was this close to trying to move around the top 3 so he could be 1 or 2. After seeing what he did last night, after seeing the pass that he made last night to Kevin Hayes and what would eventually be the game-winning goal, I was like, man, how can I make this guy a number 3 on any ranking right now? Because he is just playing at, honestly, his Norris Trophy level from a couple seasons ago. The playmaking he's had, the defensive play that he's had. You look at some of the plays he made last night, and it's an unrecognizable player to what Erik Karlsson was in year 2 and year 1 with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I struggled keeping him at 3, but the reason that I kept him at 3 is because look at who's at 1 and 2. Like, look at the players right now. Sidney Crosby going to stay at number 2. And again, razor thin margin as he continues to hunt down Mario Lemieux's franchise record in scoring. And at number 1, I'm going to keep Evgeny Malkin on that list. I thought he had the game winner on Saturday against Seattle, and he probably should have. But he's somebody who now we're starting to see the goals start to come in for him. The assists were the early portion of the season as he was feeding Justin Brazeau and Anthony Mantha as they started racking up the goal totals. But Evgeny Malkin's starting to find that goal-scoring touch, and whenever he gets on a roll like that, he's one of the hardest players in the league to stop, even at the age of 39. So let's run through the list again. Honorable mentions, Parker Wotherspoon and Ben Kindle. 5th place on my power rankings is Brian Rust, as he now starts to gain momentum back and hopefully climbs this list once again. Tristan Jarry debuts for this season at number 4. Erik Karlsson sticks at 3. Sidney Crosby at number 2, but barely, kind of a 1B, 1A situation. Sidney Crosby at 1B for the time being on my list, and Evgeny Malkin at the number 1 spot because, hey, listen, we're not doing that. We're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Crosby's at number 2. Evgeny Malkin is at number 1. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think of my power rankings, and also let me know what your power rankings are. It's a lot of fun to see you guys throwing them out there and see where we differ on opinion when it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Tip of the Iceberg. Once again, happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners in the United States, and it's going to be interesting. The remainder of the calendar year of 2025. A lot of hockey to go. Hopefully Wednesday was a sign of things to come for the Penguins. But that's going to do it for this one. We'll see you guys next time.